Well, Devils fans, the backs are to the wall. But what is going on, Devils fans? It is, as always, your host, your best friend, your confidant, your number one source, Neil Villapiano, and welcome to this round one game two recap edition in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs of the Devils State of Mind podcast. And as always, Devils fans, just really quickly, thank you as always for taking time out of your day to check this episode out. And even though with where the Devils are in this first round matchup against the Hurricanes, I still hope that you're having a fantastic day wherever you are checking out this podcast episode. So let's just kind of jump right into it, right? I mean, there's no other way to sugarcoat it as the Devils. They gave it their all. I mean, I think that they played for the most part a really good game, and I thought that they were much better than they were in game number one, but the bounces did not go their way as they end up dropping game two in Carolina by the final score of 3-1. The Devils did get off to a good start. I thought that they came out and were aggressive right away. Jesper Bratt, less than 4 minutes in, on a rebound, gets himself the game's first goal, his first of the playoffs, second of his still young career in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And overall, I think the Devils came out with a mission that they wanted to continue their good play from the third period of game number one. And they certainly took that to heart. I think Sheldon Keefe even mentioned it after game one, talking to the team that there is a way that they can play to win in these playoffs, and especially against this team. And overall, you couldn't really complain about the Devils' play, except obviously they gave up a couple of power play opportunities in that first period, but they were able to snuff them out and not allow the Hurricanes to tie the game at that point. So it was 1-0 going into the second period. And again, Jacob Markstrom playing on his head, just standing on his head, playing so well. He makes a great rebound. He makes a great first save on Shane Gostisbehere, but he ends up picking the rebound. Gostisbehere does, goes top shelf, and ties the game up at one, a little less than 3 minutes into the second period. And then not too long later, less than 3 minutes later, the Devils were going to power play. Really good opportunity to try to retake the lead. They lost the opening faceoff of that power play, and as a result, it went the other way. And the Hurricanes created nearly a 3-on-1, which was essentially a 2-on-1. And Jordan Martinook with a absolute beautiful top shelf shot, as about as top shelf as it could be. He beats Jacob Markstrom. It's a shorthanded goal, and the Hurricanes grab the 2-1 lead, and that's where things were after two periods of play. Then you get to the third period, and the Devils had a multitude of opportunities, a couple of really good power play chances. I thought their power play, despite not scoring, was strong in this game. But Freddie Anderson had just a little bit better of a game than Jacob Markstrom did. Made a couple of really awesome cross-crease saves, particularly on Timo Meier. And they ended up not getting the tying goal. Seth Jarvis would score an empty netter, and the Hurricanes would go on to make a semi come from behind win to win game number two, again by the final score of 3-1. So the Devils now are 0-4 this season when playing in Carolina. So again, the frustrations with that continue, and I think everybody can walk away from that game feeling like that the Devils should have probably gotten a little bit better of a result, maybe gotten rewarded a little bit more, but you got to give credit where credit is due to Freddie Anderson, who just played so well to frustrate the Devils as much as he did. And there was so many things that you could look back and say, well, if this happened or this happened, we might have a different game. But the play that's going to stand out without question was very late in this contest. The Devils had a scramble in front of the crease, and Timo Meier is standing on the right side of where everyone else is, including Freddie Anderson. The puck is bouncing to him. It is a wide open net, as you can see here if you guys are checking it out on YouTube. And unfortunately, the puck just bounced awkwardly over his stick, and he ended up not getting it on net. I'm 99.9% sure if he had gotten the puck cleanly there and shot it, he would have scored and we would have had a tie game. Yeah, you could make an argument that maybe Sean Walker, who's standing right there, maybe he gets a stick on it to flex away. But I feel very confident that Timo Meyer would have scored there. Once again, Meyer just getting absolutely snake bitten many a times. And it's frustrating. Him being the second highest paid player on this team, we expect him to score, especially in the playoffs. And just like 2 years ago, he continues his struggles here in the postseason. And you really wonder when he's going to finally break out of that kind of scoring slump here and really get going, because the Devils are going to need him if they want to have any chance to come back in this series. But as you can tell by the title of this recap episode, Game of Inches. And I think that's really just this picture right here. Again, if you're seeing it on YouTube, this picture right here just kind of tells it all, right? It just tells it all that the Devils were oh so close to tying the game, and it probably would have gone to overtime. And who knows what could have happened? Yeah, the Devils could have obviously still lost in overtime, and that would have sucked probably even more than the way the game actually ended. But it also, in total fairness, the Devils could have won it in overtime, and instead of being down 2-0, you're tied at a game apiece, heading back to New Jersey for games 3 and 4. But it was not meant to be. And I know it's hard because at the end of the day, we need results. We need wins in order to win this series and get back in this series. But at least the Devils can take solace in the fact that they played way better. They dictated a lot of the pace of that game. Just some things did not go their way. Giving up the shorthanded goal, in my opinion, was unacceptable. You can't do that in this situation, especially with how difficult the Hurricanes have been on their own power play. I mean, they've been one of the worst throughout the year, but they do own the best overall penalty kill in the league. So you knew this was going to be one of the marquee matchups throughout this series, was how are both teams' special teams going to come out. And through 2 games, the Hurricanes have the advantage. They have the only power play goal, and now they have the only shorthanded goal. And those are some of the differences between the Devils winning these games or being closer in them and not. So it sucks. I wasn't too angry at or irritated like I was after game 1. I felt a lot better about where the team was in that moment. Both Luke Hughes and Brendan Dillon did not play in this game. Dustin Chowalski and Shimon Nemec played, and I thought they were both pretty good. I mean, they didn't give up a goal when they were out there. I thought that they played a pretty strong game considering the situation that they were in. Cody Glass, fortunately enough, was able to come back and play. So, I'm glad that he's healthy. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to continue to have injuries to key players. You don't want to make it an excuse, but it is an excuse nonetheless. That's going to be something that's going to be brought up. But, you know, I think you could make an argument that even if we did have everybody, with the way the Devils have played the last couple of months, you argue if things could really be different in this series. But I definitely think that if Jack Hughes was playing and Luke and everybody, it would make a difference. That's the confidence level that I have with those guys coming in. So bottom line is that the Devils dropped this one 3-1 and are now down 2 games to none, heading to New Jersey for game number 3, which will be tomorrow, April 25th. It'll be an 8 o'clock start time at the Rock. I will not be in attendance for that, but I will be live on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel for game number 3. Not sure if it's just going to be me or if I'll have some other people joining me for that one, but nonetheless, my message is very clear to all Devils fans, because I've interacted with a lot of you guys in the last kind of 24 to 48 hours. I recognize that things are incredibly bleak and things look very, very lost. But the one thing I'll tell you is that all the Devils need to do is win one game to get back in this series. Just put a little bit of doubt in Carolina, and that could go a long way. You build that confidence, it's going to go a long way. Markstrom is playing very well, and he's doing everything he can. We got to score more than one goal, and we definitely got to find a way to score on the power play, because that's one of our strong suits. And I also understand that a lot of people feel that the Devils are going to get swept. I just don't see that. I believe that the Devils are going to have 2 really good performances coming up in games 3 and 4. Obviously, I could be wrong. I know that I've been criticized on social media for being an optimist instead of being, quote, realistic. But the bottom line is that I will always have hope in this team, regardless of the situation that they're in. and especially for as long as they're still in these playoffs. And for anybody who's going to the game tomorrow, you need to be loud. You need to get this team fired up. You need to make it a home ice advantage for the Devils. You can't go into it just expecting the worst. You have to go into it excited, pumped up that we're back in the Stanley Cup playoffs after missing last year, and believe in this team. And I feel very confident in saying that they will reward the fan base with better performances and ultimately finding ways to win games. I just wanted to say that because I know how a lot of people are feeling on social media over the last couple of days with the way that this series has gone and where people feel that this series is going to go moving forward. But again, for all we know, by the time we hit the end of Sunday night, the Devils could be tied at 2 games apiece going back to Carolina. Who knows? We don't know. But it's taking it one game at a time. And I know that it's been mentioned numerous times before, but I'll mention it again. The Devils, in the last time they played in the Stanley Cup playoffs, which was 2 years ago, we were in this exact same spot, down 2 games to none. Here's a couple of big differences. Number one, they got blown out in both games. They were not in the game at all. They really struggled in both. Number two, they were at home for both of those and lost both of them. They had to win both games on the road to just tie the series. And yes, I recognize I'm not blind to the fact that you don't have Jack Hughes, you don't have Jonas Siegenthaler, you currently don't have Luke Hughes, and you currently don't have Brendan Dillon. Although those things could definitely change by the time we get around to game 3 tomorrow night. But it is a different situation, but similar in the fact that we're down 2-0, but we're going home. Now we have an opportunity to defend home ice, and I expect the Rock to be rocking, no pun intended. I expect it to be sellout crowd, excitement, getting this team pumped up, and we get going right away. This team is going to find ways to win. They bounce back many a times from adversity, especially this year. Things have been tough left and right, but they found different ways. Not always the way we want, and it doesn't always last, but they do find different ways to bounce back from difficult moments to get good results. And so I think that's really what it's all going to come down to in this, moving forward with the next 2 games being in New Jersey. Really quickly, I just also wanted to shout out Brett Pesce for his unbelievable defensive performance in game number 2. He single-handedly robbed 2 goals by just blocking a shot or using his stick to clear it. I mean, he was absolutely spectacular and literally gave his entire body and heart into trying to win that game. And we got to get him a better result. We got to get Jacob Markstrom more help scoring. And this team just has to believe. And I think they do believe that they can get back in this series. They can be competitive with this Hurricanes team. And now is the opportunity to reset and show up for the next 2 games and tie this series up. But it's got to start with a good game, game number 3 tomorrow night. Really quickly before we end this quick episode, the Devils did practice earlier today here on Thursday around afternoon, and we got a very big surprise as Jonas Siegenthaler was actually on the ice and practiced on lines with the Devils throughout. He led the team in stretches. He got a lot of big stick taps, as Amanda Stein reported here, and I think a lot of people, including myself, before Sheldon Keefe spoke, was saying, is Siegenthaler going to play all of a sudden? Like, this would be huge. Unfortunately, he's not quite there yet, although Keefe didn't totally leave out the possibility that Siegenthaler could play. You don't know. It is, as Keefe put it, they'll see how he feels. They'll see how everything is going. They give him a lot of credit for how he's been able to come back through his rehab process. It's really, really great to see. Unfortunately, both Brendan Dillon and Luke Hughes did not practice. Sheldon Keefe did say that, again, they will continue to monitor it and they will see if one or both of them are available to play in game number 3. It would be great to get at least one, and certainly getting Luke Hughes back in the lineup would be ideal. But if not, again, you're going to have to just have this next man up mentality, right? And that's really where it all comes down to. So, again, bottom line here, Devils fans, we're halfway to being eliminated, but as the old saying goes, we're not dead yet. They still have to come through New Jersey. They still have to beat us 2 more times. And the Devils know that they have to give a fantastic effort in the next 2 games to get this series even again. And it also starts with us as fans cheering them loud, being there, supporting this team, no matter what the circumstances might be, and just giving them that extra push that they need. So we don't know what's going to happen, but you know what? It's playoff hockey and anything can happen. And as Ken Danico says many, many times, anything can happen in Jersey.